Everybody calls me Prof. My name's David, but I haven't used it for years simply because of the long hair or the glasses sliding down on the nose. And usually I have a book with me, so people have started calling me Prof. I was a counselor at a church camp. My ex-wife was a lifeguard at the same church camp. We got to know each other during one summer, and by the end of that year, we were married. When the divorce happened, which was a decision based on, I think the kids are taking too much heat, and we should do something about that. I think they'd be better off if we were under separate roofs. My son was 7 at the time, and the least capable of understanding exactly what was going on at that time. And if any of you have ever been or seen a child whose parent yells about something, well, Lucas was at the age to be that kind of target or victim. But what it also meant was, in his eyes, I ended up being the rotten who abandoned his mom.
I remember him forgetting Christmas when he worked at Walmart. I thought that was just impossible for you to say on the phone, I forgot Christmas. And it's like, how stupid do you think your kids are? For you to say that you forgot Christmas when I know you work at Walmart was just like, that's baffling.
I have 3 children that I think are spectacular, special. I've always wanted to get back together with Lucas. I would love to be at a point where I could just call Luke up and say, hey, you want to go for coffee? But it would be comforting to know that he'd feel comfortable being in a social situation with me at the local Tim Hortons or whatever. I mean, it would be special. And if you ask me now, why would that be special? I'll give you another dumb answer. I'm not sure. Okay, he's my son.
I think his life is probably sad. Definitely lonely. He chose that path for himself a little bit, though. My father just stopped being a father for giant parts of my life and my sister's lives. And so I think it's the man who chose to not stick around. A man who chose to not be even a shitty father, at least be a father.
What happened that really, I suppose, had more to do with the divorce than anything else, when Lucas came in from outside and grabbed me by the pant leg and said, Daddy, oh, hey, Daddy. And there was something, obviously, that was very exciting outside that he wanted to tell me about. And just a second, Luke, talk to your mom. My voice raised a tad the second time. He did it one more time, and I blew my stack. Lucas, will you shut up for a second? I gotta talk to him. And I got that look. What? Oh my! Because at that age, you think your dad is wonderful. Doesn't matter if the guy's a bank robber. This kid thinks he's the guy who hung the moon. I called him at one time and said, "Hey, how you doing? Haven't heard from you." And he was in a bad mood that day, and he basically said, why should I get in touch with you? You walked away from my family and abandoned my mother. And it was very much in the tone of voice that he was upset with me and didn't want to talk with me right then at all. And who knows how soon in the future.
For him to have a relationship with us, the phone call never seemed like enough. And so he'd always talk himself out of the phone call because it's just not enough to phone somebody and talk to them for 5 minutes. So I need to do more. But he couldn't do more. So there's this loophole. And then 6 months passes and he goes, oh, it's been too long to call. Now it's weird, I can't call. And then this other loophole, and like years passed. If I would be even worse off had he stuck around the whole time, tried to influence and tried to be a parent and tried to be involved, is that worse? Because maybe he would have been abusive or aggressive and shaped me in a different way than I am. I'm not sure. I still feel like being there would have been being there. So, I don't know. I have 2 kids with two women, and my son is 9. He lives on Salt Spring Island with his mom, and I see him not enough, not even remotely enough. So, as far as comparing myself as a father and a husband, I guess I'm about on par. I don't feel like I'm doing very good, actually. I've said to a dozen people that I feel like I'm becoming my father.
My dad was a periodic alcoholic, which basically boils down to the fact that he didn't get drunk all the time, but when he had a drink, he never stayed sober. So, I mean, it sometimes got sometimes violent, and there's things.
I say that sentence all the time, that I'm becoming my father, that I'm so much like him. And so, yeah, I could hear my dad saying that about himself, that he's so much like his father, and he didn't want to be that.
Didn't want to tell the neighbors that my dad beat up my mom last night. And by the same token, my mother, as far as I know, never mentioned it outside our door. I'm very much excited about getting a little bit more going on with my son. I mean, how important, hey, wow, there's only one of them in the whole planet. Is it worth my while to get back together, get so that we see each other on a regular basis? So, you know, I hope, and I'll continue to hope. Whether or not that will be enough, we'll see. Again, okay, got my fingers crossed.
I might be more sympathetic to the fact that my dad just needs a 20-minute conversation with somebody about nothing, because he doesn't have very many of them. I definitely want to know I just want to know that he's still alive. That's part of it. That's part of me wanting to reconnect with him. I heard that he had like 5 seizures in like 2 weeks or something, and it made me think that he might be on his way out. That's his brain saying like big fireworks show or something.
The events as they happen today can raise my hopes or lower my hopes or whatever, but the simple fact is that he's still going to be my son, and I'm still going to want to spend time with him, so I will try, and I will be successful more or less, one way or the other. Hey, how you doing? Have as much fun getting in here as I did? Holy smokes. So, how's it going?
Good. How's the life been?
The physical health seems to be in pretty good shape. And Just in general, I've come to admit to myself that I hate where I live, but
My favorite quote is probably 90% of being a father is just showing up. Because that was the part that I was missing the whole time, was just show up. There was always this pressure to have some sort of extravagant or big thing each time he'd show up, and so he'd talk himself out of showing up. Just show up.
if we get back together and get to be the best of friends, I'm still going to regret the time that I've missed up until it gets better, if it does.
It didn't exist. That's the stuff I'm missing if I look back on my life. It's just time. So I look at my own kids and it's hard. I'm not a good father, in my opinion. I feel like I work hard at it. But I feel like I could do better. And so I think what keeps me going on those days is that I'm there.
But hey, right this minute, I regret that I didn't end up spending a lot of time playing baseball with my son, because I was out of the family before he had a glove. You know, I can't fix that.